the president gave an address yesterday, a COVID brief, and one of the things he mentioned was that social gatherings, including weddings, will now increase to 100. You know, before it was 15, so now it's 100. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, that was my wedding. We had a guest list of 100 flat. 80 people showed up, but still our target was 100. Plus or minus 20. So we were right on target. For those of you who don't know, I got married last year and we had a civil union. So we didn't go the church route. And it was very conscious because we wanted to ensure that our start in life was not through debt. You see, a lot of guys are fundraising, getting into all sorts of groups so that they can have a big wedding. And imagine you're entitled. I always believe that let's have a bit of fanfare when we're alive. As Kenyans, let me use this old school word, as Miros, we are okay changang for your funeral, changang for your hospital bill. But when it comes to weddings, we have this notion that that's your choice. You don't have to get married, so you foot the bill, you know. If you can support somebody as they have this rite of passage, as they are jumping the broom, so to speak, then support them. Don't wait and support somebody when they've passed on. That's when you can part with your money. Don't be selfish. Support people when they're alive. Support people through their joy. Let's not have this notion that joy is optional. You know, life is short. Life is to be celebrated. So if you can, you can. If somebody asks you, support me through my wedding, support them. Support me through my Rurashio, support them. Baby shower, bridal showers, support them. We're becoming a very reclusive society where we measure people's joy. We measure people's ability to celebrate based on the amount in our pocket. And I think that is shameful. Some shameful-ish. Anyway, so back to me. We're talking about how when we got married last year, it was very conscious for us. We wanted to do a state wedding. Not a state wedding. What's the word? We wanted to do an AG. A civil wedding. We wanted to do a civil wedding because we didn't want to start our life with debt. If I was to invite all my friends, all my colleagues, everyone I work with, my entire family, and my husband's family, we would be looking at 500 people plus. And yes, that's a joyous occasion and people should celebrate you, especially if there hasn't been a wedding in the family. But it's also important to look at what happens after the wedding for the two of you. So this is my advice for guys who are now, they've been given leeway by the president to have gatherings, especially weddings, of more than 15 people. Remember that there is life after I do. Remember that gown that you're wearing, you'll probably only wear it once. And the next time you want to wear it, it probably won't fit you. Give yourself options that allow you to save a little bit of money. Now, I am not in any way saying that you should not have a grand wedding, but I feel that weddings have been commercialized like Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is so commercial. It's all about hotels and lodgings and, you know, giving special offers and so on, when you should honestly be telling the person and showing the person you love them every day. It's been totally commercialized to the point where romantics like me, we find it hard to celebrate Valentine's Day because it comes with a commercial angle. And there are people who, you know, they want to go all out, and maybe you want to make your parents proud, you want to make yourself proud, and you want to be there with everyone you know. And yes, that's fine. But if you can't afford it, let there be no shame. When we were downsizing and when we were planning our wedding, it was in two phases. The first phase, we were going to go the full white wedding. Full shebang. I even started getting quotes from wedding planners. Ish, let me tell you, if this thing does not work out, I'm becoming a wedding planner. The quotes we were getting. I was like, damn, I can build a house with what you're charging me. It's a serious business. And there are those who, I mean, everyone is trying to make a coin, and I respect wedding planners who go out of their way to make a very beautiful event memorable. I applaud them a lot, but it's expensive. Here you are sitting down planning centerpieces, and each centerpiece you're being charged, I don't know what, 1.5, 2K, 500. For us, we got a friend who did for us a centerpiece design with ribbons from River Road. And I think it cost like 150 shillings. And trust me, the last thing people remembered about our wedding was the centerpiece. So try as much as possible to remember that you can still have a beautiful, memorable, fantastic wedding within budget without breaking the bank, especially if you know that you don't come from that kind of social, how can I say this being politically correct? You don't have the kind of family or the kind of friends who will back you up financially. Oh yes, we realized who our friends are and who they are not. And it's also unfair to put some kind of burdens on your family for something that ideally is your choice. You know, you want to have it big, make sure you have the balls to back it up. Don't have a wedding that's 600,000, for example, and then you come to the table and say, we have 20K. That doesn't work. If you have savings over time and you have a 300,000 saving and your wedding is 600K, if you sit down with guys and say, meet us halfway, I hope and pray you have the kind of family and friends who back you up, because that goes to show you remarkable friendship. Some of the most memorable moments I have during that season of Rurashio and wedding are of people who said, wow, Cindy, you're doing this, let me support you. And guess what? I never asked them. Out of the goodness of their heart, they decided to support because they understood the cultural and the life importance of sharing life events. And it touched me. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. You blessed me and my husband a lot. But if you belong to the other group where every week you keep posting messages telling guys, oh, please, please, we have a deficit of this much, we have a deficit of this much, and you're not able to back it up, then consider having a small wedding. Because what will happen is people will resent you for it. Guys will come to the wedding already with donor fatigue. And remember, in weddings, people expect gifts, they expect envelopes. So you're not going to get much in the envelope because what do washatoa? And then there are people who bado na wahanda after you've gotten married, you're in your honeymoon, you're still saying, hey, that pledge of yours? No. I had a friend of mine who was getting married. I had not heard from him in ages. And he hit me. I'm like, hey, yes, have you been? So it's like, so I'm getting married. And I would like you, Ashani Ambia, the amount. I'd like you to stand with me 5K. I'm like, excuse me. Do you know my current situation? Knowing I can just fork out a kaluska 5K? Hey? So, because I was a bit embarrassed, you know, as Africans, we're a bit embarrassed about saying no and a bit embarrassed about discussing money. So I was a bit embarrassed. I said, okay, let me get back to you. I've now learned the power of no. Hey, see, I was called off the hook. A bit of traffic here. I was called off the hook the next day. Hey, Cindy, so about the 5K, the day before the wedding, the guy was calling me about 5,000. I heard later on that behind the tent, you know, like you can live at your own leisure and people are taking pictures. He disappeared, him and his best man. Why? Because they are going through envelopes. Wanararua envelope, kutafuta pesa, kupatia service providers. Is it really worth it? For one day. And marriage is for the rest of your life. And marriage is not the wedding. It is not the dress. It is not the centerpieces. It's not the limousine. All that stuff is well and good. I watch wedding shows. I love My Perfect Wedding. My husband thinks I watch them because I'm envisioning the kind of wedding that I want. No, I'm old enough to know that what I got was sufficient. I was still celebrated by my family members. I still respected my family, and I still had a great day. And we still honored God because after the AG, we had a reception and our pastor came and blessed us. But we did not have to break the bank, and we footed 75% of the bills. The rest was people supporting us and saying, here's this, I'll do this, I'll buy the cake, I will fuel the car, you know, or you can use my car, I won't charge you fuel. So if you can think along those lines, I think it would be better, it would be a great start for you, and you will solidify your friendships, because friendships break because of cash. And don't get me started about how friendships break because of money, because I ain't got enough time today. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.